So let us start with 3 Om recitations and prayer to Sage Patanjali. Please sit straight, adopt Dhyana Mudra. Breathe in. Out. 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 Please join your palms. योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचा मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि आबाहुपुरुषाकारं शङ्खचक्रासिधारिणं सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिम्. हरि ओम. Today's our topic is respiratory system, and it is very important because our pranayam or most of the yogic kriyas mentioned in Hatha Yoga Pradipika, when we start practicing it, we need to know anatomy and physiology of respiration. Then only we will get how those kriyas are influencing our body or our functioning or our systemic functioning. So first of all, this respiratory system is related with breathing actually. So breathing and respiration, there are two parts. When it comes to understand or comes to know, when we try to know more about it. So breathing and respiration, there are two parts of respiratory functions. Respiratory system is made up of, just let me share the slide first. Which are the organs or components of respiratory system? It starts from nasal cavity because we take air in through nose. So nasal cavity, then pharynx, then larynx, that is respiratory tract. This tube-like structure, what you can see here. So from nose to lungs, this tube is there. And this tube consists of nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, and then it is continuation of larynx is trachea. Trachea also we called it as windpipe. Trachea is also, we in normal regular language we call trachea as windpipe. And then trachea bifurcates here and it enters into both the lungs. Then it again bifurcates and branches of trachea. Trachea, it is called as bronchus and bronchioles. And at the end or tip of the bronchioles, there are grape-like structures called as alveoli. Alveoli are basic structures where this gaseous exchange happens. What we saw in circulatory system, that when deoxygenated blood goes to lungs, then lungs, what happens in lungs? The carbon dioxide from deoxygenated blood, it comes into trachea or alveoli, and oxygen molecules get transported into blood and blood becomes oxygenated. So whole this gaseous exchange procedure happens in alveoli. So one by one we are going to see it. So alveoli, you can see grape-like structure here. So here this gaseous exchange happens. So as I had mentioned, breathing and respiration, there are two procedures in total mechanism of respiratory system, major procedures. Breathing is just taking air in and exhaling air out. And respiration is also called as cellular respiration. What happens in respiration? This oxygen molecule, blood takes this oxygen molecule, it travels throughout the body and it passes it or transport this oxygen molecule to each and every cell of our blood. Then this oxygen molecule gets utilized to produce energy in all metabolic processes. So this is chemical reaction. We are going to discuss about it also, but in general, this is outline of respiratory system, like breathing, then cellular respiration at the cellular level, and then um, carbon dioxide excretion from lungs. Anatomy of lungs. Lungs are located in thoracic cavity. We saw yesterday thoracic cage. There are 12 pairs of ribs, and inside thoracic cavity, lungs are located. The lungs are pyramid-shaped paired organs that are connected to the trachea by the right and left bronchi. So when trachea bifurcates here, this right canal is called as right bronchi and left canal is called as left bronchi. Right enters into right lung, left enters into I'm showing you opposite like mirror image. So yeah, here it is right and here it is left. So yeah, right and left. And the diaphragm is the flat dome-shaped muscle located at the base of the lung. Diaphragm, it is not shown here in next, just let me check if it is here. Yeah, this is diaphragm. So lungs are sitting on this diaphragm, and diaphragm is a major respiratory muscle. It helps in total breathing and respiration procedure. So diaphragm is dome-shaped muscle where lungs are sitting on it. Pyramid-shaped lungs are there. Then the lungs are enclosed by the pleura. Pleura means covering of lungs. It protects, there is a covering on lungs and it protects lungs by external shocks or maybe it is a protection that you should know. The right lung is shorter and wider than left lung. Right lung is shorter and wider than left lung, and the left lung occupies a smaller volume than the right. And on the left side, cardiac notch is there because in this notch, you can see here, there is a notch and heart is located there. Heart is, we saw yesterday, shape of heart, pear shape and like a fist. So apex is on downward side. So heart, in this notch, heart is located. For that, on the left side or in left lung, you can see this cardiac notch is an indentation on the surface of the left lung and it allows space for the heart. The apex of the lung is the superior region where the base is the opposite region near the diaphragm. So apex is above, base is below. Now you can see here right lung has three lobes. Upper part is superior lobe, middle lobe and inferior lobe, and it is separated by this notch or this line you can see here. So three lobes are there. It is whole continue in continuation. This organ is not like separated means literally separated, but it has three parts. So right lung has superior lobe, middle lobe and inferior lobe. Inferior is at the base and superior is near apex. Apex or tip of each lung, it is near clavicle or behind, just below the clavicle. Then left lung has only two lobes, upper and lower or superior and inferior. Because of this cardiac notch, it is continuing. So two differences are there. Right lung is shorter and wider than left lung. Then left lung has cardiac notch. Right lung has 3 lobes and left lung has 2 lobes. This is trachea, also called as windpipe. It is getting divided or bifurcated here below, behind our sternum bone, and each branch is called as bronchus or primary bronchus or main bronchus. Then this bronchus enters into lung, each lung. Then it again gets division. You can see here multiple branches of bronchus. These are called as bronchioles. And at the end of bronchioles, you can see grape-like structure. It is attached. There are millions of alveoli in lungs, and they are filled with air. They are filled with air. So alveoli are the basic organs where this gaseous exchange happens. Now it is clear. So air enters into trachea by nasal passage, pharynx. Then from trachea, it goes into bronchus and then bronchioles and then alveoli. This is main anatomy. After that, gaseous exchange starts happening. So this is the structure of alveoli. One alveoli. If we take section, we can see this. So all alveoli are covered by mesh of capillaries of pulmonary artery and pulmonary veins. That we know, pulmonary artery brings impure blood to the lungs, and pulmonary vein carries pure blood towards heart. So these are capillaries of pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein. So they cover all the surfaces of alveoli. There are very small branches. Capillaries are very small, minute branches, and they are forming meshwork and they are connecting to each other there. And they cover alveoli. Now what happens? They are right outside the surface of alveoli. They're sitting on that surface, all capillary mesh, net we can say. And then air comes here, oxygenated air enters into alveoli. Then oxygen molecule is getting transported around the body by red blood cells, because red blood cells has that affinity or attraction for oxygen molecule. So oxygen molecule, through the process of osmosis or pressure changes, it goes into, enters into that bloodstream and gets attached to the hemoglobin, and blood becomes oxygenated. At the same time, because of pressure changes, this carbon dioxide enters into alveoli and it goes out through the exhalation. So that's how in small alveoli, there are millions of alveoli lying in our lungs, and they are continuously working. When we are breathing in, breathing out, this procedure is continuously happening. And yesterday we saw 0.8 seconds. Heart is contracting, relaxing, one beat, whole phenomena, cardiac cycle is happening, and per minute 5 liters of blood. So that is how it is connected. This pulmonary circulation, then this pulmonary respiration, heart, functions of heart, it is 24/7. It is continuously in action. There is no pause in between. Now, this breathing procedure is voluntary as well as involuntary. Like we saw meaning of voluntary and involuntary when we in muscles, types of muscles. So voluntary means under our control, involuntary means under brain's control. So which part of the brain controls this respiration? Medulla of the brain, and it is autonomic part of our brain. Medulla is the autonomic in functioning. So autonomic means it is completely under control of brain. It is nothing to do with us. But at the same time, we can also stop breathing. We can take a pause. While doing Kumbhak, we give commands to ourselves that I'm not breathing now for maybe 10 counts, 5 counts, 3 counts, 2 counts. So that shows that this is the only system in our body which is connecting us to the autonomic centers of the brain. Because by taking pause, we are taking control over that autonomic action. That's why it is very important to understand respiratory system in connection with Hatha Yogic practices. So this is clear now how gaseous exchange is happening. First of all, breathing. What is breathing? Breathing is taking air in and exhaling carbon dioxide out. Respiration, it is cellular respiration, transportation of oxygen towards the cells, and then cells absorb that oxygen molecule and they utilize it to give us energy. Whole this procedure is mentioned here in this paragraph. So afterwards you can read details of whatever we have discussed just now. Respiration definition is metabolic process wherein the living cells of an organism obtain energy in the form of ATP by taking in oxygen and liberating carbon dioxide from the oxidation of complex organic substances. It is all biochemistry. Just taking oxygen in and then chemical reaction happens and carbon dioxide is getting released and it is going out of the system. Types of respiration. There are two types of respiration, aerobic and anaerobic. So how it happens now, actually no need to memorize this chemical equation also, it's just for your information. So we need glucose molecules and oxygen to get energy. And why this energy is needed? Every now and then I am mentioning this energy and metabolic, like we want ATP, we need ATP, we need energy. So there are various our systems are performing lots of functions that you know now, you are aware about it. So why we need energy? For production of enzymes, hormones, chemical substances, proteins, synthesis of proteins from amino acids. There are lots of chemical procedures also going on in our body, and all those are called as biochemistry. Biochemical reactions are going on. So production of proteins or synthesis of protein from amino acids, then synthesis of glucose from carbohydrates, fat breakdown, then production of, as I had mentioned, hormones, chemical substances, conduction of electrical impulse in the nerve cell, because electrical system, our brain or nervous system works on that only. So that in electrical impulse, to generate that electrical impulse, we need energy and we are getting energy from this only. So glucose from food and oxygen from air. Two major important components we need to produce this ATP or this energy, which is again required for production or production of enzymes, production of hormones, production or synthesis of proteins from amino acids, production of new cells. We know like RBCs have 120 days of lifespan. So after that, we need new cells. So production of new cells, how it happens? For that, we need this energy. So how important it is. Breathing is respiration is very important for our health or to manage optimum health. Because if it is not happening properly, only glucose is useless. What is our body going to do with only glucose if we are not getting proper supply of oxygen molecule? Then this excretion is also not going to happen of carbon dioxide. Water is not going to produce, and ATP also we will become, it is lack of ATP, that situation will occur, and then energy levels low and everything starts from here only. That's why yoga or hatha yogic procedures or kumbhak practices, they focus on first yogic breathing, how you breathe. First, correct your breathing and then start yogic practices. Otherwise, it is not going to help you. Anaerobic respiration. So, without oxygen to produce energy, uh, when you are doing cardio exercises, you are running, and what happens after running fast? At one time, situation is like we feel like we are lack of oxygen in oxygen demand. Our body can't take air in. It happens, breathlessness or heavy breathing, and at that time, what happens? Our skeletal muscles, they use stored glucose to produce ATP. At that time, carbon dioxide and lactic acid also getting produced. And this lactic acid is not that good for our body. So in moderate amount, if it is getting produced, it is okay. But if you are not breathing properly and every now and then you are going for anaerobic respiration automatically without knowing, so it happens most of the time. People, they breathe very superficially, they don't take full breath. It's habit for them. So at that time it can happen. Heavy exercises, running, cardio exercises, and while doing cardio exercises, so many cases nowadays we listen that we hear that cardiac arrest, sudden death, all these things can occur just because of this chemical reaction. And now you know what happens proper in our body in healthy condition. So aerobic respiration is very important. Anaerobic respiration is just a when situation like emergency situation occurs, then our body tries to do that, tries to compensate. But every now and then, if we are doing that, then it is not good, because you can see here alcohol, carbon dioxide, and lactic acid also getting produced by this anaerobic respiration. So this is primary information about what chemical process is going on in this whole respiration thing. Now it is clear what is respiration, what is breathing. There is a difference. Breathing is just breathing in and out. Respiration is next step of breathing. Cellular respiration is all these chemical equations what we saw: production of ATP, production of carbon dioxide, and then in presence of glucose. Glucose is also required for respiration. Highlight points. Then lungs anatomy: three lobes, right, two lobes, left. That is clear. What is trachea? What is bronchus, bronchioles, alveoli, gaseous exchange? Everything is clear. Now next is lung volumes and capacities. This is also important part of this respiratory system, which you should know as a yoga teacher, because you are going to teach others pranayam and whatever kumbhak and everything. So it is useful to divide total space within the lungs into volumes and capacities. What we saw, alveoli and their surface. On the surface of alveoli, this net of capillaries is there. There, this gaseous exchange is happening. So we are getting surface area of lots of or millions of alveoli. So if we want to measure how much oxygen and how much our lungs can really take in, the capacity of lung, how much air our lungs are taking in, or how gaseous exchange, how it is happening, where and in what amount it is happening. To calculate, to measure that, this concept of lung volumes and capacities came into existence. This division allows for assessment of the mechanical condition of the lungs, its musculature, airway resistance, and effectiveness of gas exchange at the alveolar membrane. So it is for diagnosis purpose, for treatment purpose actually. Because when any patient comes with breathlessness or bronchitis, then their capacity to breathe in or taking air in, it is getting reduced because of alveolar or maybe resistance, airway resistance. Mucus is getting mucus is creating obstructions there. So for that purpose, all these methods came into existence. But we should know basic things, how they measure that our lungs are healthy or not, or what are normal capacities of our lungs and normal volumes of our lungs, and how they measure spirometer and helium dilution. Two common methods are there. No need to go in detail about that. With spirometer, they measure that, just keep in mind, and if question comes. And helium dilution, it never comes. That detail you don't have. But spirometer you should know. If maybe in your viva someone asks about lung capacity or volume and how they measure, so you should tell them that is simple spirometry. So lung volumes are tidal volume. First, what is description of tidal volume? Volume that enters and leaves with each breath. Volume of air that enters and leaves with each breath from normal quiet inspiration to normal quiet expiration. Means what? At rest, I am sitting like this, I am doing nothing, and I am breathing. So at that time, I am doing inhalation and exhalation. At that time, what amount or what volume of air is coming in and going out of air? That is called as tidal volume. It is 0.5 liter, means 500 milliliter. 500 milliliter. Normal tidal volume. It is important. Just try to memorize it. Tidal volume means at rest, when you are breathing in and breathing out, what volume of air enters and leaves with each breath is 500 ml of air or 0.5 liter. Then changes with pattern of breathing. Example, shallow breaths versus deep breaths. It's natural. Now, if normal, I'm normally taking breathe in and breathe out, so it is 500 milliliter. But if I'm shallow breather, like this, breath rate per minute is high, then it is going to change. So, shallow breaths versus deep breaths. In shallow breathing, it is going to decrease. And in deep breathing, it is going to increase. And increases, physiologically increases in pregnancy, right? Because as fetus grows, the pressure comes on diaphragm and female starts breathing. Normally, they start breathing deep. So now, second is inspiratory reserve volume. Inspiratory reserve volume. Extra volume of air that can be inspired above tidal volume from normal quiet inspiration to maximum inspiration. So हम बोलते हैं ना अनुलोम विलोम में, inhale, deep inhale. So purposely we take extra air in. That is 2.5 liter, that is 2500 milliliter. Inspiratory reserve volume is also called as IRV, short form IRV. So it relies on muscle strength, lung compliances, and normal starting point. Means your capacity, your respiratory muscles, how strong they are, how they can give more, for example, diaphragm. If it is more compatible, then inspiratory reserve volume will be more. If diaphragm is not, yeah, one basic thing I forgot to tell you, while breathe in and breathe out, what changes happens inside our lungs or inside our thoracic cages. So that gaseous exchange, and that is okay. But when we breathe in, our thoracic cage gets expanded. It is expanding. And what happens? This movement of thoracic rib cages, this movement is called as bucket handle movement. Like this. When we inhale, ribs of the rib cage, they go up, and diaphragm goes down into abdominal cavity. Diaphragm moves into abdominal cavity. It is a dome-like structure. So it goes down, rib cages goes up like bucket handle, and that is creating space for lungs to expand. That is creating space for lungs to expand. So that movement, while inhalation, it needs assistance by muscles. So which muscles are there? Chest muscles, anterior chest muscles. Then diaphragm, that is also muscle which helps. It helps a lot while inhalation. And intercostal muscles. Intercostal muscles are the muscles which are attached to the ribs in between. So all these muscles are getting involved in breathing procedure. Now, when we inhale completely, ribs are moving upwards. Diaphragm is going down into abdominal cavity, and it is creating space. So our inhalation is active, but exhalation is passive, because what happens when we are breathing in, and after some time, what happens? Automatically, diaphragm comes in. It regains its normal shape, dome shape. And because of that, the space is getting decreased. And that's why what happens? Exhalation starts because of that pressure of diaphragm. And then we start exhaling. And after exhalation, the lungs start shrinking, and ribs, they come into their normal shape and normal location. Now, this inspiratory reserve volume, that's why depends on muscle strength and lung compliances, that is elastic recoil after expansion and coming back to normal shape. So lung tissue has that elastic recoil nature, and how healthy it is, then inspiratory reserve volume depends on it. Expiratory reserve volume, extra volume that can be expired below tidal volume from normal quiet expiration to maximum expiration. With awareness, with focus, when we start exhaling, then there is prolonged exhalation. We can take control over it. And that is called as expiratory reserve volume. It is 1.5 liter, that is 1500 milliliter. Again, it relies on muscle strength, low airway resistance. It is reduced in pregnancy, obesity, severe obstruction, or any obstruction in bronchi and trachea. Actually, in pregnancy, we cannot exhale more. We cannot take our tummy in because of uterus is increased in size and shape. So there is more superficial breathing in pregnancy. Thoracic breathing. What we notice, there is thoracic and clavicular breathing more in pregnancy. In obesity, if abdominal fat is there, again this happens. Then residual volume. Volume remaining after maximum expiration, because while exhaling, we are trying to throw out all the air, but it is our trachea, bronchus, alveoli, they are empty spaces. So empty spaces always occupy air. So there are air is going to remain there. Whatever you do, completely you cannot take out all the air from your airway passages. So remaining air is called as residual volume or reserve volume. And that is also around 1.5 liter or 1500 milliliter. So this is clear volume of air. We can take around 500 ml of air at rest. But if you will notice or observe, not more than 200 to 150 ml air we take in or take out. That superficial breathing we are doing nowadays because of stress, anxiety, and yeah. Once we start doing pranayam practice or deep breathing or yogic breathing, we feel that change. That increases our stamina, capacity, isn't it? Freshness. So that is why it is happening. So this is lung volumes, and you need to keep memorize this. It is useful throughout your yogic, whatever you are going to do in future. Just try to memorize all these volumes. Okay. After that, lung capacities. These are composed of two or more lung volumes. So we saw lung volumes, and with the help of lung volumes, we are going to find lung capacities. How much our lung are capable of taking air in or taking out. So normal volumes we saw, how much air we can take, but now lung capacities, we are going to find it out with the help of lung volumes. So vital capacity, volume that can be exhaled after maximum inspiration. So volume that can be exhaled after maximum inspiration, IRV. Maximum inspiration is what? IRV, inspiratory reserve volume. And after that, if we will add tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume in it, it will give us our vital capacity of lungs. It is 4.5 liters. That is 4,500 milliliters. Vital capacity means very simple. We are adding IRV, tidal volume, and expiratory reserve volume. So as much as possible inhalation, then as much as possible exhalation, and our normal inhale and exhale volume of air. Total of that is our vital capacity. That much is our lungs capacity actually. And that the number is 4.5 liters. So imagine the difference between IRV, it is 2.5 liter, and this is 4.5 ml. Then inspiratory capacity, volume breath in from quiet expiration to maximum inspiration. Tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume. मतलब नॉर्मल जो है उतना वो टाइडल वॉल्यूम हो गया, और ज्यादा से ज्यादा हम जितना इनहेल कर रहे हैं वो दोनों को मिला के हमारी इंस्पिरेटरी कैपेसिटी हो गई, दैट इज 3 liters. एंड फंक्शनल रेसिड्यूअल कैपेसिटी, volume remaining after quiet expiration, that is expiratory reserve volume and residual volume, that is 3 liters. So we are trying to find out maximum capacities of our lungs. If purposely we will start doing this, we can increase our lung capacities. Now, total lung capacity is volume of air in lungs after maximum inspiration. That is sum of all volumes. That is 6 liters. That is 6 liters. So, our lung has total 6 liter of air capacity. And we are breathing just 500 ml, 300 ml, 150 ml in tidal volume. And once we start doing pranayam, IRV, not more than what I have observed, people they start doing, but not more than 1500 ml or 1000 ml. Yogis, Hatha yogis, they used to use their total lung capacity, that is 6 liter. That's why that transformation in their cellular level, chromosomal level, they used to observe. So our target is that. Okay. Now, any question related with this, because I have covered all the points which are important for your exam. Respiratory system, components of respiratory system or organs which are there. Major organs are trachea, lungs. Then trachea, it's getting bifurcated. It is called as bronchus, and then branches of trachea called as bronchi. Alveoli, major structure where gaseous exchange happens. Anatomy of lung. Right lung 3 lobes, left lung 2 lobes. Left lung has cardiac notch. Alveoli, how this diffuse gases diffusion happens. Then blood low in oxygen comes there with carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide molecules goes into alveoli, and oxygen molecules from alveoli comes into blood. Because of hemoglobin, they are getting attracted towards hemoglobin. Then it becomes oxygenated blood. Whole procedure is mentioned here. Then chemical reactions. How we get energy from oxygen, and glucose is important factor for ATP production. Aerobic and anaerobic respiration, there are 2 types of respiration. Measuring lung volumes and capacities. Volumes we saw tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume. That, and purpose of understanding that concept, residual volume, vital capacity, inspiratory capacity, functional residual capacity, and total lung capacity. So just parameters you should memorize, like total lung capacity is 6 liters. It is useful throughout your yogic studies. You need to memorize this, okay, for in relation with pranayama and hatha yogic practices.
Doctor, I had a question. You want to record or you want to continue?
We can stop recording just a minute.